everybody. Welcome back to the Comedy Castle podcast. I'm Joel Fragmenti. I'm your host. Going to be telling you what's going on this week at Mark Ridley's Comedy Castle, all right? Got a favorite returning, Michigan's own J. Chris Newberg. Is he now LA's J. Chris Newberg? Is that a possibility? That might be the case. But let's get into it before we get into my talk with J. Chris Newberg. Tell you everything going on this week. Tonight, as you're hearing this Tuesday, February 25th, the Comedy Class Showcase for the 101 Beginner Class. That starts at 7:30 p.m. That's all the beginners, brand new folks. Occasionally you get these repeat people who've done the class before, and that's because Bill is such an excellent teacher. We'll talk about Bill's comedy class with J. Chris Newberg. I have some thoughts, but, you know, I'm recommending it, if you're brand new to comedy, that you take the 101 showcase class, do that showcase, and then maybe you take the advanced comedy class with me, Joel. But that's another story. That show, 7:30 on Tuesday this evening, if you listen to this as I put it up, the 25th. And then the following night, Wednesday night, we got open mic night at 7:30 p.m., Wednesday the 26th. You can just show up and get a ticket for open mic night. It's $5. You come on in. You'll see 16 really funny people. And if they're not, they're brand new, and you might find someone you love. And but it's a real fun night. It's a lot of younger people, college kids. You get people coming out on dates to the open mic. It's always a good time. And you get, the friends and family of the comics, of course. That's who's at open mic night. But nice turnout. 50, maybe up to 100 on the high end. But usually, 30, 40, 50 on the low end. So somewhere in between. We're having decent weather this week in Michigan. So we could have a great turnout for open mic. You should join us. $5 to get you in. And then this weekend, J. Chris Newberg, our headliner, he estimates it's his 20th headlining weekend at the Comedy Castle. That may or may not be true. It's hard to say. But here he is. Coming in this weekend, he plays funny songs, performed all over The Tonight Show with Jay Leno. He's been on America's Got Talent. I believe he made the top 10 of AGT. He is currently writing and producing on game shows, in addition to other things, and you'll hear me talk about those things. But he's got 7:30 p.m. on Thursday the 27th, 7:15 and 9:45. Two shows on Friday, February 28th. And then March 1st, Saturday, March arrives with shows at 7 p.m. and 9:30. You got to go check out J. Chris Newberg. We've got Nicole Melnick and Kyle Forsyth opening those shows, and they're talented as well. So get on out to the Comedy Castle. Talking to Chris, I've known Chris pretty much as long as I've been in the comedy business, 25 years or so. And he says at one point, there is some nostalgia for what we used to do, right? The club bar at open mic and starting out. But he also goes on to say, look, we were young guys, and we were, I don't know exactly how he says, had more ego than talent, which is interesting because when you see big stars, sometimes they're very nice and there's not a lot of ego. And that's great to see. With a lot of young comedians, even really talented ones, sometimes there's a ton of ego. And maybe that was us, and maybe we've matured and now we're this. But it's a really fun talk with Chris, nostalgic to some degree, but also relevant to what's going on. We'll talk about him on social media. Chris is trying to break through on social media. He does jokes. The jokes get comments. We'll read some of the comments. It's ugly, but he responds, and of course, he's right on all of these. We'll talk about what happened during the LA fires with Chris, and that's an interesting story because, man, that was scary. We'll talk about his work on the Hollywood Squares, some of the celebrities he's worked with, some cool stories there, and exactly how does the Hollywood Squares work with the answers? We'll tell you. He'll tell you. It's interesting, because they're supposed to bluff. They're supposed to tell you, hey, this is the answer, but it may not be the answer. Does a celebrity really know the answer? Well, he's going to tell us. And also, big thing here with Chris Newberg, if you want to come out this weekend, if you're on the fence, he's recording these shows for a potential new special. He's going to have 3 cameramen in there. You'll hear that on the show as well. It's just a fun talk. Whenever me and Chris get together, it's fun. We'll talk a little bit towards the end of the interview, and maybe on the other side here about why I'm not at the club this week. Some of you may know that already, but hey, you'll hear that at the end of the show. Let's just throw it to J. Chris Newberg. Let me shut up. Let you listen. Here's J. Chris Newberg. Ladies and gentlemen, on the other end of my line, it is a privilege to bring back my friend, J. Chris Newberg. He's our headliner this weekend. Chris, say hi to everybody.
Hello, everybody.
Yeah, we're talking to you today. You're out there. You're meeting. You're wheeling and dealing in L.A. today. It sounds like.
Yeah, I did some dealing and wheeling.
Yeah.
I think technology is so. I mean, not to start off hot by being an old guy, but like I think it's so funny that I pitched I had a 10 a.m. meeting with a production company in New York. So I pitched an idea of a meeting over the internet to New York City from LA, and who knows if anything will happen.
Who knows? But you're doing it. I mean, that's been a thing for you, man. You've been working steady in this business for over 2 decades.
Yeah,
that's great.
I guess I have. Yeah.
Fun. I mean, we could be here. The whole show could be me and you naming guys who are funny who no one's heard from in a decade.
It's true.
So the fact that you're around and you're relevant and you're working, that's great, and you're headlining the club.
It feels like yesterday at Club Bart.
that was the old open mic that we had over there in Ferndale that Chris was a regular, a big favorite at, and I certainly spent many, many hours of my life there.
The place was always a mystery. Always a mystery.
But it's one of those things like when things go away, people remember them fondly. People miss it. People always say, I missed that show. I missed that place. And it's like, well, we were there, you know. People only were shitting on it the whole time we were there, and now everybody misses it. So what can I tell you?
It's funny.
It's one of those things, man. But headlining the Comedy Castle, you must, Adam, maybe we talked about this last time we talked, what the actual number is of weekend headlining shows for you at this point.
I bet it's at least 20.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah.
I bet it's at least that.
Yeah.
And that's cool.
Yeah. Well, Detroit loves you, you know, as long as you've been gone from the Detroit scene, you come back and everybody comes out to see you.
Well, I kind of think it's sort of like I'm the human equivalent of Club Bart, because I'm like, well, wait, I remember when I was there. Where were you guys?
Yeah, well, we're going to be there this weekend. Got a great, 5 big shows. And, I mean, it's always fun when you're there. I like when you just go, you know, you have your jokes, you have your songs, and we love those. But the thing about watching you as a guy who's in the showroom watching all 5 of those shows most weekends, you go, people in the crowd make your show different every single time.
Yeah. I guess so.
Yeah. I mean, you know, and I don't know what it is about you, or it might be your approach to them. It can go wonderfully. You never seem to get rattled if the guy, well, I think that's a credit to you. When the guy's a complete asshole, you really don't have a problem with it. You never seem too upset.
Well, it's because it has nothing to do with me.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, it's not like I'm the reason this person's upset. It's like they've obviously got something going on in their life. And, you know, everyone's fucking crazy these days. Oh, can I swear?
You're good.
Everyone's crazy. Like, so I'm not going to say anything to piss anybody off.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of like martial arts. You just kind of take their energy and pull them forward with it.
That's a good way to put it. But it always makes for interesting shows, even if you, to some perspective, you would go, oh, man, that show's out of control. But, you know, because where are you with you're before the show and you go, I want it to go this way? Do you have that in your mind that I want it to go like this? Or do you not care? Or do you just go, I'll make good of whatever it comes my way?
I mean, I think as a comedian, it's impossible to plan how it's going to go.
Yeah.
I think you just have an intention.
Mm-hmm.
You have somewhere, like stuff you want to hit, but you never, I mean, every audience is different,
Yeah.
and you have no control over that.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Let's talk, because I saw this on your Instagram. The LA fires. I think you're the first person I've talked to about the LA fires that was in LA as those things are happening. You were on the news here in Michigan talking about that. How did
Right.
that affect you? How'd you do? What's going on now? What went on then? What's going on now?
It's honestly, it's one of the. It just depends on how you look at it.
Yeah.
I think that's generally choice. So, for example, like in the entertainment industry, there's been COVID, and then after COVID, there was a writer's strike, and then after a writer's strike, there's fires. So it's
Yeah.
like it's very challenging to get momentum because there's so many different channels and avenues of income and television and different things that are just not there anymore. It would be like if the city of Northville and Livonia
Yeah.
vanished and the city of East Point just vanished.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's devastating. I mean, I was not affected by it directly,
Yeah.
other than I was evacuated for a day or two.
Yeah.
But it sucked. I mean, it sucked.
Yeah.
People lost everything.
I know. Yeah, it was terrible. I was watching it as it was happening. I had all the I had the local LA feeds on YouTube, and I watched that stuff and was just blown away by just how awful the devastation was there. And I'm glad you didn't lose your home, or
Yes, me too.
that's a good thing. But yeah, so you've been working television production. Tell us some TV production stories, writing, producing. I saw you on the Hollywood Square set. That looked cool. You working on that one?
We wrapped season 1.
Okay.
So the show did really great.
Yeah.
I'm waiting. Myself and all the other writers are waiting to hear about whether or not we are back for season 2. I'm very hopeful.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's just it's very cool because when I was younger, I would obsess over Paul Lynde, and I would obsess over that show, and I would be like, how do they do that? Are they? And then I finally found out what the formula was, and I finally found out that like Paul had a writer. Yeah. And then strangely enough, like several years later, I was hired on the show to be the joke writer.
Right.
For the celebs, which is challenging.
Right.
I gotta say, as cool as all those people were, and on a side note, here's what's funny, Joel. Like, when you're coming up and you're listening to Howard Stern and you're listening to Drew and Mike and you're listening to morning shows, and they get a celebrity on there, and the celebrity is being interviewed, and they say, well, what's it like working with this person? And the celebrity's always like, I love it, it's great, they're a really good person. Yeah. And you're always like, why won't they just talk shit? Yeah. It's because, one, it's so hard to get a job. Yeah. And if you do finally get a job, you don't want to get fired because you said something that was dumb. Yeah. And working with these celebrities, all were very interesting, all were very unique, and they all, since everything is so brand specific these days, no one would say anything that wasn't completely on brand for them. So then you have to take the joke, the setup, the bluff, and mold it into, like Dionne Warwick style. I'm like, okay, all right, that's cool. But it was fun. I mean, a lot of people were really grateful. They're really funny. Yeah. I worked most closely with, I think I did 9 or 10 episodes with Whitney Cummings, and I have to tell you, she's a funny lady. Yeah. Funny lady. Yeah. I was backstage at the Comedy Castle, and I saw where she had signed in 04. Nice. In 04. Like that before the show. She was not a famous person in 04, but there she was. No, but it's even funnier because it was such a Spinal Tap moment. Well, I ran into her at the airport in Kansas City before we started shooting Hollywood Squares, and I didn't know her very well. We came up together, but we were in totally different circles. So maybe she knew of me, maybe she didn't. Yeah. I knew who she was because of her success. And I was talking to her, and I was like, hey, I'm going to be working with you in the next couple of weeks on Hollywood Squares. She was really nice. We started having a conversation. I was like, where were you at? The Improv? And she's like, oh, I don't know, some theater.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. And it was just funny because I immediately assumed comedy club, and she's far past that.
She's had a great career. People love her, and you know this now, being in the business, and I've certainly seen this. That when you are that, it's people want to know that the celebrity is going to be an asshole that you worked with. Secretly, what do they really like and stuff. But I find that most people that are really successful, especially if you don't think they're talented. Like I can see if you're super talented, you can be a dick or whatever, or bully people, and they're gonna want to work with you. But there are people who are just genuinely nice people, and you go, okay, maybe that's not the funniest person, most talented person. They're working because they're pleasant. People want to be around them, and I see that all the time at the Comedy Castle and in other stuff I've done. It's just amazing that people don't get that part of it. Young comedians are complete dicks, a lot of them.
Well, I mean, you were young. I was young. We were dicks.
I guess we were. On some level, we were. We didn't think we were. We weren't trying to be, but we were, yes.
We were much more cocky than we were talented, both of us.
Absolutely. And then, I see we had Kevin Nealon at the club a couple months ago. Nicest guy in the world.
So funny.
No demands, no nothing. Funny comic, sweet guy. Gave me his home phone number. Said, hit me up if you're in L.A. What a dude.
Yeah, and I'm sure he means it.
Yeah. I don't know that I ever will, but a nice dude.
Yeah, I'm very good. There's a lot of really great people.
Yeah.
I didn't have anybody of the, I don't know how many celebrities I worked with that I didn't get along with. I mean, it's just your job, it's not about you at all. It's your job as a writer producer is make that person feel comfortable and safe, and make sure they're happy and armed with jokes that they want to tell.
Yeah. That's good. So that is the thing. Now can I ask, I don't know if this is breaking anything. The answer is given to the celebrity or it is not on Hollywood Squares?
Okay, so here's how it is. It's both.
Yeah. I know it's a bluff okay, but go ahead. You go.
So each celebrity is assigned 2 questions per episode. So in their question assignments, like let's say, for example, I wrote a question that did really well on the show, and it was assigned to Margaret Cho. So the question was, in what province of Canada would you find Dildo Island? And the choices were, Nova Scotia, or I think, what do you call it? Whatever the far east one. Yeah, Nova Scotia. I think Nova Scotia.
Nova Scotia's one, yeah.
Or Maritimes or some whatever.
Yeah.
And another one was like Windsor, or Ontario. Okay. So she had both choices. She had, this region or that region. One of them is correct. She didn't know which one it was. So she had to pick. And then she was given a joke. I gave her the joke of, oh, I've heard of that place. There's a real buzz about it. So
that's a good joke.
So she hits it, kills it. Kevin Nealon tags it. Everybody on the show talks about that joke for the whole show, and it worked out great.
Yeah. So she doesn't.
But yet they never know.
You don't know. They don't know if they're, because there was the famous one with Gilbert Gottfried. Now this is a different, years and years ago, where he keeps bluffing and people keep saying he's correct, and he calls him a fool. The very famous
"You fool,
you fool." Yes, very famous bit there. But well, that's neat. It's neat to know that they don't really, they could have it right.
Well, there's nothing to prevent them from Googling both choices the second you leave them in the trailer.
Okay, there you go.
I mean, they're not required to not have their phones.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's like but it's so funny because it is a game show and it's so guarded. Like when I enter, I have to enter with 3 people.
Okay.
So you just always have to have you have to make sure that you're always protected.
Yes. Those contestants can't have any information.
Contestants can have no information. I didn't see any of the contestants.
That's good. Sounds right. Sounds like the way to do it.
I just worked with the talent and Nate, the host.
Let's.
So what's the weather? What's the weather like there?
All right, so it is warming up this week in Michigan, but we had a lot of snow and a lot of cold. So it's all like melting ice and snow right now as I speak to you. It's in the 40s, but it's a sloppy 40 degrees outside.
Okay.
Yeah. So
I can't relate. It's 72 right now.
Yeah, I bet it is.
72, no clouds. And I'm on my old man walk.
That's all right. We were in the 20s for about 2 solid weeks there.
Yikes.
And with a combined 8 or 9 inches of snow a week ago. So, yeah.
Oh, man.
But you'll have better weather. You're picking a good week to come.
I think it's crap. I mean, does people still go out in the cold, don't they?
They do. You know, we found at the Comedy Castle in the last couple of weeks anyway, that Thursday's kind of a tough draw. I mean, it always is, but like it's been real low, okay? And then Friday you go, okay, it's all right. Friday's not too different than Friday. It's not really sold out usually, but you know, half full for the early show, maybe a little less for the late show. But then Saturday, everybody and their mother comes out.
Yeah, to both shows.
Jamming sellouts or near sellouts pretty much every Saturday night. So look forward to that. I don't know. It's that thing. People want to go out on Saturday.
Yeah, that's very Michigan. Yeah, everyone wants to go out on Tuesday.
And I get that. I understand that. Let's talk about the joke of the day on Instagram. You have, because we talked about this last time. But it looks like you're doing this basically every day, pretty much, more or less.
A couple times a week.
Three times a week. But it's regular.
I mean, it's definitely regular. It's my goal was I wanted to see if I could eventually get 100,000 followers and see if that made a difference in my life. And I don't necessarily think it's going to, because I'm at 99.7 or 99.8.
I'm looking at it right now. 99.7.
99.7.
Yeah.
And, it's, Joel, it's just like Club Bart on, like, not to make that the running theme, but it's just the comments are the funniest things because it's the same thing.
There, guys.
People, they're going through whatever.
Yeah.
And they want to attack. Like, I also know I've been doing this long enough. I know how to button push when it comes to content. So I wrote a joke. It wasn't even a joke. It was an observation. It was right after Kid Rock complained in Nashville about people not clapping loud enough when he sang Proud Mary. I was like, what? And he stomps off stage. He's like, well, if you guys can't clap, I'm out. Yeah. And I was like, oh, I'm so embarrassed for you. Like, really? Like, that's... And then in the same day, I heard Ted Nugent's song Fred Bear, the song about hunting. And I was like, God, you used to be such a great songwriter. Now you're singing about shooting deer. All right, whatever. And I just wrote, is it cool that I'm proud to be from Michigan, but I'm embarrassed for Ted Nugent and Kid Rock? Not 1 ounce of political energy in that joke at all. Every other comment is like, fucking libtard. Yeah, you just, you fuck your family. And I respond to some of them because I'm just like, I don't ever get mad. Yeah. It's so funny. Yeah. So I think that also says something about me leveling up in a weird way because people are going out of their way to comment. Yeah. And that to me is a great joke. Yeah. If it makes you angry.
Yeah, it's a reaction, sure.
Then it's successful. Yeah. So, yeah, I guess I just keep doing it. What I'll do is Michelle and I will shoot like 5 or 6 at a time. She'll edit them, and then I'll just post them every other day or whatever.
Yeah. Well,
it's working.
I know. Well, for example, this gentleman wrote, "What do you pedophiles listen to?"
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Didn't I respond?
You did respond with Hanson, yes. Yeah. I mean, it's so weird. So funny. Yeah, it is. Oh.
So, but some of them, like a lot of those people, though, they want you to fight with them. Like some guy, like I always get Paddington Bear or like a broke.
Oh, sure, the bucket hat thing. Yeah.
Yeah, and the bucket hat thing, like honestly, it was just I did it once. I was wearing it once,
Yeah.
and I got 7 million views. So I was like, oh, I'll try it, and then I'll do it without it. And then I got nothing. And then I put on the hat again. I got 5 million views. I'm like, I'm just fucking doing this stupid hat every fucking time.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Looking back, I wish I would have only worn the same hat. That could have been like my Larry the Cable Guy kid or down out there.
Because it is different hats. The hats change from joke to joke. The hats change.
The man, Joel. The man stays the same. Yeah,
people getting upset about jokes, and the fact that you're interacting with it is I think a lot of people wouldn't even bother.
Most people don't, and I don't, and like again, my friends are like, buddy, what are you fucking doing? Why are you wasting your time? I'm like, it's fun.
All right,
it's just practice.
All right, I have some analysis just of this whole thing. The Detroit thing, which I just read, which has 626 comments. Seemingly negative, or those are what you're trying to, also has more likes than anything that I'm scrolling through here. It has thousands of likes versus some of the other ones.
Exactly.
So that's success. I would say. I call that a good one.
I mean, it's just people are watching the stuff. Like I did a whatever you call it. Oh man, I'm trying to think. It's oh god, what do we call it? Such an old guy moment when you do an Instagram post and you do it with somebody else. Oh, collaboration. So I did a collaboration with the Comedy Castle on 2 posts, and one's over 500,000.
Oh, okay.
And one's over like 50. Okay. So it's again they're working.
Well, great.
They're working.
Well. Yeah. We got to get people out to see you this weekend. What's the live show looking like now? What can we expect from you? If we've seen you before, if we've never seen you.
Okay. Well, I'm recording all 5 shows. I've got 3 cameras coming in, and Mike in the audience and everything else. I shot my first special I think 3 years ago, and then last summer I shot my second special in Canada. But the people who I shot it with in Canada lost their funding.
Oh.
So that was never released.
Oh, okay.
So this new special that I'm just doing myself, mostly to clip it and do whatever.
Yeah.
It's kind of a hybrid of it's kind of a hybrid of the second special in Canada, which didn't get released, and a bunch of new stuff. I'm going to talk about, I guess I'm going to talk a little bit about my history, because mostly when I go on stage, it's joke. And this time it's going to be a mix. I mean, I'm going to do music. I'll play the songs people want to hear, and I'll do audience stuff, and I'll do, joke. But I'm also going to do story jokes about, what I've been dealing with and going through, and just regular comic stuff.
Nice. Sounds great, man. Yeah. It should be a fun time. Again, I'm sad I'm not going to be there. I know we were talking before we officially turned the mics on that I'm getting married this weekend. And
I mean, if you want, Joel, I can simulcast the show, and you can have it out on your table.
I mean, we could do that, or we could just I'm paying this DJ a lot of money. I could just get out of that and put your show on a screen or something. Just let people enjoy it. Well, the 20 or so Michigan comedians that are coming, I don't know how they would feel about that.
That's funny.
Yeah,
that's really funny.
Yeah, that was a decision when we were thinking about getting married and where to do it and all that stuff. Because my initial thought, and you tell me on this, because you know the scene, you know these people. I go, let's have no comedians.
Right.
This is my initial thought. Let's make this a family affair. We'll make it intimate. No comedians, no work people. Well, that immediately turned into a bigger hall, a bigger, everything got bigger.
How many people are coming to your wedding?
About 100 or so.
Okay.
So not huge, but not giant. But there was also the thing about, we got to have a minimum. When you get into a hall, you have to have a minimum number of people.
Right.
Yeah. So that's where the comics get involved.
Yeah, and you just bring them out. Yeah, you're having a bringer wedding.
Pretty much, yes. It's like, look. Well, I'm paying, I guess. I don't know. They're supposed to give a gift. I don't know how that all works out. I don't imagine, and this is for anyone that's planning a wedding, as much as you might look and go, oh, look at that gift box and the table of, listen, I'm still in the hole. There's no possible way I'm digging out of this hole with gifts.
Right.
Impossible.
Yeah.
Can't do it.
I've heard a lot of great things about, what was I going to say? My friend Russell, when he got married, he just said, don't you fucking dare give me a gift. Just give me cash.
Yeah. But even in cash, I can't get out of the hole.
But this is the one time you do it, hopefully. And I'm sure it'll, the memories and all the fun stuff.
Yes. Well, my bride is a very nice lady, and she's very cool. She takes good care of me. And
that's all you need, buddy.
Hopefully that's enough. I don't know.
That's all you need.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm not, getting married's great. I'm in my 50s.
Right? Yeah, I mean, I get it. I'm right at that point. I think we've been engaged for a year, I think, and we're doing it in April of 27.
Yeah. Okay, well, great, man. Yeah, I mean, I've been with my fiance for 7 years.
Nice.
No point.
Same length.
Been living together for 5. There's no point in not being married.
Yeah, absolutely.
No point. It's the same thing. It's the same.
You guys gonna have kids?
Oh no, she's young enough to have kids. Okay. Let's put it that way.
What's the age difference?
14 years.
14 years. Okay. I beat you. I think I'm 21. 21 years.
I'm not a writer producer on Hollywood Squares, sir. So I think it's
nicely played.
Yeah, but believe me, in the circles you're running in, 21's like the guy's got you beat by twice that, I'm sure.
Absolutely. It's bananas. That's my favorite game that I play when I go to dinner and I see a young woman with an older fella. I'm like, dad or producer. That's my favorite game to play.
Yeah, it is. But we get along great. It's I act younger than my age. She acts older than her age. Everything, at the end of the day, what does it matter?
I think it's great.
And you know what? And the thing about it's love because she ain't with me for my money. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, that's also a great reason.
Yeah. Oh, John, man, you snagged the host of the Comedy Castle podcast. Way to score, babe.
Keep that bar at the top.
Yeah, really. I mean, it's the old thing in comedy where they say, "Oh, you fucked your way to the middle," right? That's the old.
I mean, I think, but you're in your 50s. I'm in my 50s. Based on when we started, how many years ago, 20 or whatever. It's just it was more than 20 actually.
Yeah.
It was
It's 25 it was 25 for me in the last fall. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm right about the same time.
Yeah.
So it's always good if it's like all we ever wanted when we were younger. Yeah. Regardless of whether we realized it was to be happy.
Yeah. 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 But then you're also
cool.
Thing about comedy is now, at least in my scene, I'm the old guy now.
Yeah.
I'm the old guy. I'm older than the old when I started. I'm older than the old guys when I started.
But who were the old guys then?
Well, the old guys then would be like, Bill Hildebrandt and Billy Ray Bauer and Norm Stoltz and those guys. And I think those guys were in their 40s probably when I started.
Right.
And I was in my 20s, but yeah, I'm older than them. Wild.
That's crazy. But isn't Billy Ray Bauer still doing it?
Billy Ray Bauer's still around. It's still great. We just lost Norm. We lost Bill a few years ago. But Norm was working, Norm had cancer and was out there doing shows and killing it. So, so God bless him. Hopefully, if I'm lucky, I'll live to his age and still be on stage and doing something,
I just think that you'll always be on stage as long as you connect and as long as you find yourself feeling relevant and having people connect with what you're saying. Yeah. That's all that matters.
Right. Well, I'm going to work on my married material.
You'll get so much.
I'll be so successful doing jokes about husbands and wives when I wasted 25 years talking about trying to get laid.
That's so funny. I was just like, there's a joke that I did. Hold on. Sorry, buddy. One sec.
No,
One sec. Sorry.
I hear that. Oh, listen to that.
Yeah, I'm doing the pod from Santa Monica
Yeah,
Boulevard.
that's all right. Well, the shit's going down.
Yeah, it's just a little. But no, like, speaking of jokes and marriage material, I was so pissed, but and then I realized I was only pissed for a day. There's nothing I could do about it.
Yeah.
So I did this joke in 2004, no, 2001. Whenever I did the Tonight Show, the joke was great fucking joke. Great joke. The joke was women are a lot like bacon, smell amazing, they taste fantastic, but kill you slowly. Joke got like applause break, whatever. Now this joke is like 20 whatever years old. So I clip it about 2 years ago, and I put it up. It gets 2 million views immediately.
Yeah.
Like everyone's like thinks it's great. Then it gets taken down because because Instagram or Facebook is like, well, you're basically saying that you want to murder women. I'm like, no, I'm not really saying that at all. And so then, since then, so many different people have like literally, Joel, like when I say 1 million different views, and like people have covered it. So many people have swiped the audio, but at least given me credit for it, and posted that joke or reaction videos. Then I got a message 2 days ago from this marriage couple. Someone's like, "Did you know they're using your video?" I'm like, "They're what?" "Using your audio for your thing." So I look on this video, and it's got 11 million views already. Like 11 million, and they have the fucking nuts to credit the original audio
to them,
And I'm like, but it's my fucking voice.
Yeah.
It's my fucking joke. And I was a crazy person for a whole day until I realized there's nothing I could do about it, and I stopped.
Nothing you can do at that point. Yeah.
No, but it was like they took the joke that was about being single and said, "Oh, this is what marriage is like."
Yeah. Is there a guy you call? Is there a thing you go, "Hey, what can we do about this?"
No, there's never internet. People can
you call the guy and the
whatever.
guy goes, "You can't do nothing."
I wrote him a very nice email. Yeah. And I said something to the extent of, "Listen, you're using my joke. I don't care that you're using my joke. A bunch of people have. It'd be cool if you credited me. You know, I'm not threatening you. I'm not angry. But it's not your joke. You say that it's your joke. It's stealing. No response. Nothing. I'm just like, all right, fat Jewish or whatever that guy's name was who fucking did that.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that, but you know.
I'm not even. I was just talking about the difference between marriage and whatever.
Marriage and yeah. Well, listen, you're gonna have all kind of new clips after this weekend.
Of course.
At the Comedy Cast.
Can't wait to see who steals these.
Maybe me if I need marriage material. But no, well, I always wrote my stuff. You know, that was the thing that I always, I mean, if I'm proud of anything in my comedy career, and you certainly more than even me have tried, the joke writing, you figure out who can write jokes and who can't pretty early on in somebody's comedy career.
Yep.
And you and I always could.
Yep. Yep. I've heard your joke like a zillion times. The Madden joke.
Yeah, the Madden joke was done a bunch. But you know, it's funny. Over the years, I just go, how original are these things? And I don't know. I feel like with the internet now, you're just gonna, if somebody was doing that joke parallel developed on the other side of the country in 2002, there wouldn't have been any way for me to have known that. There's no possible way they could have stole it from me. There's no way I could have stole it from them. It literally just would have been two people wrote the same funny comment, right? But nowadays, you put stuff out there and anyone can see it and they can see it immediately and they could do it tonight on a stage and they could, so it makes the whole thing so challenging as a writer to be like, well, I'm completely original when, and even, I teach comedy class and I tell my students, I go, look, I'm not accusing you of stealing this, but I've heard that joke. Or something very, very similar. And again, you just got to understand that. It doesn't mean you have to drop it, but you have to be aware that there is a chance somebody's going to see you and go, that's not original. And if you're looking to get hired on things and and they think you're not original, that's going to hamper that.
Yeah, absolutely. No, you're totally right. But yeah, and that's another thing when, like, so I teach classes, or I've taught two classes, and I gotta say, the majority of the people
Yeah.
who sign up just flake.
Yeah.
They just don't fucking come. It's the weirdest thing.
It is weird.
I don't understand that.
I don't know either. I certainly have
Like,
my share of that, but yeah.
It's like, what are you doing? You paid for it, and then I'll reach out and I'll be like, "What's going on? Oh, I had a tough week at work, and I couldn't do it." And it's like, no, you didn't want to do the work.
Yeah. Well, the people that can't go to the classes, because stand up, being successful in stand up, 90% of that is just showing up. That's kind of an old Woody Allen quote about his success is 90% of it was just showing up and doing the work. And when I'm saying, hey, I got a gig, I want you to be there, you got to go.
Right.
You tell people you're going, you got to go. So if I say come to comedy class, we got class on Saturday, are you coming? And they go, I can't. It's like, well, how are you going to make that gig eventually when you're at that point? Or how are you going to, whatever. I'm not paying you for this, but I don't feel like paying you is going to change anything. You're still going to come up with something.
I also like the people who, when they take the class, they're taking the class because they want you to write jokes.
Oh, absolutely.
For them.
Oh, dude, you don't even know. I struggle with that because students expect that. And no disrespect to Mr. Bouchard, who also teaches classes at the club, but I know he does way more punching up of those acts than I do, and I'll give him a tag if I feel like there's a tag that works for him. But Bouchard, and you hear, when you've heard enough of Bouchard's act, over the years, it's one that he wrote. When you see these people perform, you're like, oh yeah, that sounds like one of Bill's. Yeah.
Bill's, he's a funny man.
And look, great writer, hilarious comic, but he really does help his students, and God bless him, because I feel like I could help you, but I'm also like, I'm only helping you to some degree, because eventually you're going to have to do this on your own.
Yeah, no one helped me, man.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'd figure it out. That's
absolutely
the easiest way to do it. It's the way you learn the fastest.
Exactly. All right, dude. Well, listen, we could talk all day, and I know you got stuff to do. I got stuff to do, but have a great weekend. I really sincerely wish I could be there, but that will not be happening for me, but only because I got important stuff.
Well, congratulations to you. Again, that's fantastic.
Dude. Thank you. I do appreciate it. And hopefully we'll see each other before too long, dude.
Absolutely, brother. All right, well, take care of yourself.
Thanks, Chris.
Good luck, Joel.
We'll see you this weekend. Have some great shows.
All right, take care.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
All right, guys, there it is. Chris Newberg. Gonna be a fun week. It always is with Chris. All the shows are different. Sometimes the crowds get rowdy, and he seems okay with it. That's the only way I can put it, but that's really cool. Unfortunately, I will not be at the club this week. I am getting married this weekend, so it's kind of a big deal for me. And, having my friend there really makes me want to be at the club. But, of course, we're going to have a great time at the wedding, and want you guys to come out, see Chris Newberg and all that jazz, because he's so funny, and he's connected in L.A. and all that stuff. It's great. He's an L.A. insider. He's a Hollywood show business dude, but he's really a Detroiter at heart, and he really reps our city well, and really proud to call that man my friend, Chris Newberg, a talented, funny man working in the business for over 2 decades. What more can you say? Come see Chris Newberg, all right? And one last plug for the advanced comedy class. March 29th will be the next one for that. We had just an amazing a show last week with everybody doing their showcase on Tuesday night. Thanks if you joined us for that one. It was a really fun night. My students just knocked it out of the park. I was so proud of those guys. I threatened this could be the greatest advanced comedy class showcase of all time. I think it might have been. It was terrific. I'm telling you. And so it's going to be great. If you want to be part of the next class, if you've done the beginner class with Bill Bouchard, or you're just somebody who wants to raise your game, get some advice from someone like me who's been around for 25 years in this business, I'm going to tell you, what it takes to make it in stand-up comedy. I can help you get there. Take the advanced comedy class. Call the club at 248-542-9900 to sign up for that class, to sign up for the beginner class with Bill Bouchard if you have no experience, okay? And we'll see you this weekend. Go to comedycastle.com. Get your tickets for J. Chris Newberg. We'll catch you next week, all right, guys? We'll see you then. Have a good one. I'm off to get married. Wish me the best.